2022, and the event will present two speakers. First, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Faiz Muhammad Amin from University Malaysia Kelantan. Secondly, Engineer Nicco Plamonia MT M.Sc Ph.D. from Research Center for Environmental and Clean Technology BRIN. Both speakers will present the slides in English, and the discussion will be delivered in Bahasa to increase the engagement among participants and also to increase the understanding of the presentation. Before we proceed with first speakers, we will receive and have the speech from our head of Research Center for Environmental and Clean Technology, Dr. Aryo Beta Joan Silvero. Dr. Aryo, time and screen are yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Handi.
I'm sorry, you're still mute, Dr. Aryo.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Handi. I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute my microphone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and warm greeting to all of you.
Good afternoon.
Distinguished guests, our esteemed speaker today, Associate Professor Muhammad Faiz Muhammad Amin from University Kelantan, Malaysia Kelantan. Engineer Nicco Plamonia, MT, M.Sc, Ph.D. from Research Center from Environmental and Clean Technology, BRIN. And our moderator and master ceremony today, Dr. Handi Chandra, fellow researchers, academics, practitioners, and all participants of today's EnviroTalk. So now, let us begin by offering our deepest gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, for it is His grace and we are able to gather today in this spiritual forum, BRIN EnviroTalk, which this time carries the timely and important themes, navigating climate challenges, water challenges, and urban innovation in ASEAN. The EnviroTalk series is part of our commitment at the Research Center for Environmental and Clean Technology to continuously disseminate research finding and innovation in environmental science and clean technologies. It is also a space for meaningful dialogue across sectors and borders, especially in facing the growing threats of climate change. So it is also include for water security, I guess. And whereas the water security and urban resilience are two critical pillars of sustainable development, not only in Indonesia, I guess, but also across the ASEAN regions. And we highly appreciate the presence of our distinguished speakers from Malaysia and also from our side, who will share insight and experiences in navigating water-related crises and pioneering innovative approach for climate-resilient urban infrastructure. So we do hope this forum will not only broaden our understanding, but also open opportunities for practical collaborations, of course, across countries and across institutions, to further strengthening the role of research in driven environmental quality improvement and sustainable progress. In closing, we thank to all speakers and participants for their contributions. So we hope may today's discussion be fruitful and bring long-lasting benefit for our shared commitment to a better environment. So we can start the speakers and we can start discussion after this. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Andi.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Dr. Aryo, for your speech. Next agenda, we will have the speaker from Malaysia, from University Malaysia Kelantan. But before presenting his presentation entitled Water in Crisis, Climate-Induced Challenges and Adaptation Pathways in Indonesia and Malaysia within the ASEAN context, I will read his short curriculum vitae and okay, I will read his curriculum vitae. Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Faiz Muhammad Amin is an accomplished academic and researcher at the Faculty of Earth Science, University Malaysia Kelantan. He holds a Ph.D. in Civil Engineering from Delft University of Technology, Netherlands, focusing on water treatment. His expertise lies in water resource management, environmental sustainability, and the nexus of food, water, and energy systems. Dr. Faiz has been actively advancing sustainable solutions to environmental challenges, particularly in water treatment and groundwater management. His recent attachment with the Water Resources Research Center, or WRRC, at the Disaster Prevention Research Institute, Kyoto University, has enriched his collaborative research efforts on the impacts of climate change on water resources. With over 16 years of experience, Dr. Faiz has led numerous interdisciplinary projects, collaborated extensively with government agencies and the private sector, and published widely in the field of environmental science and water resource management. He has been actively involved in shaping governmental water policies, particularly in advancing climate resilient and sustainable water strategies. His commitment to sustainability and integrated resource management continues to influence academic research, public policy, and community-driven solutions. That's a short curriculum vitae from Associate Professor Muhammad Faiz. Without further ado, screen and time is yours, Mr. Faiz. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandra. Let me share my slide. Okay. Can you see my slide, Doctor?
Yes, very clear.
Wait a moment. Try another one. All right. Once again, thank you, Mr. Moderator, Dr. Chandra, and the head of Research Center, Dr. Aryo, my fellow speaker, Dr. Nicco, my good friend. We meet in Cairo. So thank you so much for the invitation to this 42 EnviroTalk today, and hopefully I can share some of
sebelumnya kan bentuk sendiri kan?
Nah, ini itu kan bubar.
some of the insight of regarding this issue, water in crisis, climate-induced challenge and adaptation in Indonesia, Malaysia within the ASEAN context. So, yeah, ladies, distinguished guests, colleague, fellow researcher, there is an urgency and shared imperative in this topic of water in crisis. It is no longer sufficient to view the water as a background or supporting actor in the movie of climate change. It's now become the main actor actually in our climate discourse wherever in the world is it. So it is the medium through which the harshest reality of climate change also already now unfolding across ASEAN. So we're having a lot of climate issue across our ASEAN region. So in overview of the climate change impact in our on water resource in our ASEAN region, so it's become more intensified across all the country, all 11 countries in our ASEAN region, including our newest member, Timor-Leste. It were episodic flood and drought, and now it's become systematic risk. It's already occur often, almost every year. So Intergovernmental Panel of Climate, IPCC AR6, already underscored that Southeast Asia heightened vulnerability and hydrological extreme due to increased temperature, drought, that leads to drought, and also high intensity of rains due to the changing monsoon pattern, and some of sea level rise and become a stressor point to the climate of our region. So this stressor is not evenly distributed, and it's almost disproportionate between we have a disproportionate effect between our different country and socio-economic vulnerability and ecological fragile in some of part of our region. So as we look towards the climate hazard of our regions, this is some overview of the climate overlay, integrated data from WRI and Asian State Climate Change Report. We can see that a high concentration of exposure in most of our Asian country, and almost all of these countries have the extreme water impact. Either is extreme precipitation that cause to the flooding, or flooding due to the sea level rise, or impact from the urban heat and the high temperature rise in our land area. So the convergence of the sea level rise, the urban expansion, the rise of the river basin pressure makes our region become a zone for climatic problem hotspots. So from this figure, we already can see almost every country have their own disruptive hazard, either it's on the livelihood, food supply, or the infrastructure. Basically, all that we can say that the whole ASEAN is currently under vulnerable threat of climate threat. Okay. So when we talk about climate threat, of course we need to go into to see the level of vulnerability. The level of vulnerability is the key to highlight the reality happen in each of our country, and no ASEAN country, like I said before, is immune to the climate risk. But from this chart, we can see Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines, have the sharpest edge towards the crisis. So we are some sort like the most vulnerable country in the region right now. So the highest score leads towards the call of action, either through a policy reform, adaptive investment, cross-border knowledge sharing, or any other activity that we can do together to maybe somehow adapt or mitigate the vulnerability that we have right now. So this graph show the index value relatively to the vulnerability across multiple dimensions, either the extreme event such as flood, drought, or sea level rise, adaptive capacity, government, economic readiness, and infrastructure readiness, and sensitivity either on ecosystem dependence or population distribution. So when mixed together, we can chart the climate vulnerability index for each country. So, and in Malaysia, through the Malaysian Adaptation Index main developed by NAHRIM, our National Hydrological Research Institute. So we further analyze each of the state, currently we have 14 states, each of the state climate vulnerability. So this cover all the sector of water, food and commodity, and also infrastructure. In addition, we also look towards the state readiness in terms of in facing the disaster through the index and the ranks. So from this, federal resource can be channeled to address urgent sector and prepare each state to make them ready to face the disaster that might happen in the future. So we chart all the 14 states in Malaysia, and from each state we chart their vulnerability and readiness. So from this we can see which are the states that really needs urgent or help from the federal or funding. Right. So why water and why now? So these are questions that we need to ask, because water system is integrated in every area of development, such as agriculture sector, energy, health, and our ecosystem. So the intensification of the hydrological extreme, whether through the prolonged drought or extreme rainfall event, precipitation event, directly undermine our water availability, water quality, and also service reliability. So from this, our ASEAN region might have high dependency on our riverine system, and it put this dependency system on the tipping point towards disaster. So when it comes to an extreme situation, this position is further intensified. For example, in terms of the water stress in the country and our regional system. So from the graph, the upper one, we can see this is 5 from our 11 nation in our ASEAN region. So from this 5, we can say that almost these 5 countries somehow have a water stress level more than towards the middle part, 0.4 and above the stress level. So when we look further into our regional water level, stress level, we might say, or we could say that we are in almost similar situation. But the question, the real question is why? So on the bottom one, we try to look into detail. These are the data that we get from Water Resource Institute, Aqueduct Water Risk Atlas, ASEAN State Climate Change Report, and World Bank Climate Water Security Profile. So from that, we try to plot. For example, this is the example of Malaysia and Indonesia. Where are these water stress come from? So 5 or 6 different points that we highlight here is baseline water stress until the water quality issue. So we could say that almost all of the country in the ASEAN in the ASEAN region have almost the same similar issue, plus minus 2 or 0.2 plus minus 1 or 2 point differences between each other. So, and next, these are the data. The graph show from the Oceanic Nino Index, which we track the 3-month average of sea temperature anomaly in the equatorial Pacifics. So it is a critical indicator of El Nino and La Nina, the drought and the high rainfall event. So this index is the most important predictor of climate variability in Southeast Asia, especially the rainfall extreme and the drought extreme. So looking at the ONI from the 1990 towards 2024, we can see some sort like clear pattern. El Nino event marked by the upper one, the red one, the positive ONI spike, become more frequent and intense, and in some case more prolonged. So like last year, we in Malaysia, we are having really high intensity of high drought period that most our major dam become dry up, almost dry up towards the level, critical level of the dam. So the concern highlight in this slide, whether it's increasingly intense El Nino cycle are now become more severe, more prolonged throughout the ASEAN. Right, the emerging this emerging research suggests that climate change may become amplifying the behavior of ENSO system and making El Nino become stronger, longer, and more erratic. You can see from the red box that I highlighted, the drought intensity become more stronger, very strong, above the very strong level. And obviously from the blue ones, the rainfall intensity, it just goes to the strong level, negative 1.5. So from this 20 to 30 years data, we can see that the factor of El Nino become more severe, and it means that our country, like Malaysia and Indonesia, must factor the El Nino into long-term water planning and our agriculture policy, not just for seasonal forecast. So in this presentation also, I try to highlight the major flood that happened in Malaysia and Indonesia. So this longitudinal graph represent the major flood that occur in over the 2 decades. Some of it have a notable of high severity index, especially for example, in Kelantan, 2014. So and in 2021, the Klang Valley in the Kuala Lumpur area have the high severity of 10. The severity index is 10. So this also happened. We can see the almost similar pattern in Indonesia. These are the severity line graph from of major flood event in Indonesia from 2007 up to 2022, whereby the highest one is in 2007 and 2020 in Jakarta. So this reoccurrence of flooding either in Kelantan, in Malaysia or in Indonesia, exacerbate the land and some sort like a drainage failure that we can see in urban area. So due to the heavy rainfall and our sewage system cannot cope due to the high intensity extreme anomaly rainfall. So the flood in urban area become worsened. So notably, the flood risk is no longer seasonal. It's now become perennial and especially expanding towards the year.
Salam. Kenapa itu?
And on the other hand, the major drought event also show a different spectrum. The drought become more deeper and more frequent. So the drought become more severe that it causing loss in terms of economy benefits to the both country, Malaysia and Indonesia. So from this graph, we can see in 1998, especially both for Malaysia and Indonesia, in 1998, 1997, we have I think one of the biggest drought in Asian region, and also notably in 2016 in Malaysia, and 2015 in Indonesia. So this type of drought risk intensification trigger a lot of other effect like water rationing, crop losses, peatland fire, especially in Kalimantan, forest fire. So the data that we have show that the water resource planning is now must be embed into this extreme, must consider this extreme into the design threshold. So we need to consider future action. So when we look at this graph also, it's become towards this new towards this era baru ini, the drought become more occur more often, and more severe. All right. So when we talk about climate and water, we cannot run from our vegetation, the impact of water towards vegetation. As we know, the rice become our main food staple in our region. So it's not just food staple, it become a strategic resources. So nearly 80% of Asian population rely on the rice as the primary foods, almost every country have their own paddy fields except for Singapore in our region. And we are some of the top producer and top consumer globally. So this rice come with heavy footprints. So it's become the most water intensive crop in the planet, of course. And just to get to bring the data in. So 1 kilogram of rice, we take about 2,500 liters of water just to grow the paddy and produce 1 kilogram of rice. It takes 2,500 liters of water. So the rice cultivation is the largest water consumer in our Asian region, actually. Right. So based on that, in Malaysia, Malaysia is currently projecting a dry period by decades to our main 4 rice granary area in Malaysia. So we have Muda, Kedah in the area Kelantan, and some of in our northern part, the Kedah, and where Kedah is the Kedah, Perlis, Perak area is the most the main granary area for Malaysia. So we project by decade in almost every early, mid, and late decade, we will have issue of a dry period. And when we talk about dry and drought, is the main enemy of our paddy fields, right? So it's an alarming issue since our own production for our own consumption is not enough. So currently we are importing from Thailand, India, and of course some from Indonesia. So if this happen, if no action been taken, we will have a critical national issue by next 10 years, right? So this is where NDVI, or we call it normalized difference vegetation index, become an essential tool to predict the vegetation health. All right. So from with help of satellite imagery, we can track the vegetation health, greenhouse intensity over time. By this, we can see where is the crop is thriving, where are the stresses, where is the intervention is needed. For example, in terms of rice and water, what can be done to help for example, the northern granary area in terms of planting their rice in a drought season. What can be done is that what investment that need to be made, what infrastructure need to be built to help stop the declining of the yields. All right, since the heavy reliance on this vegetation, not just paddy or other vegetation like fruits and other main vegetation to water, NDVI, we can use that to track water stress area. So in Malaysia, for example, this NDVI we set up a map is from September 2023 towards October 2024. It's revealed a significant stress, water stress in Kedah and Kelantan area. So Kedah is towards on the left part, and Kelantan is region. To December and January 2024 to December 23 and January 24, most of the East Coast agriculture area is not viable due to the monsoon season. So it's marked by the red. You can see from the maps on December and January. So the red part on the East Coast. So same thing we do for Indonesia. The El Nino linked drought can be observed clearly in May 2024 in Sumatra and also Kalimantan. It shows sharp drop of the NDVI value correlating to the reduced harvest and water stress factor. So not only we can plan in which period of the year we can plan certain plant, or we can also try to regulate the resource, for example, water, towards all this plantation or all the granary area. So we embed this information towards the decision in the framework that I will talk later. We embed it in the decision making in our framework that we built, just to say that just to help us adapt more towards this climate impact. So adaptation must not be strategic. Adaptation must be strategic. It's not reactive. Maybe in the past 20, 30 years, I think almost in every country, we tend to become reactive toward climate issue, for example, the flooding and then the drought. So when flooding, we try to be based. We are building something based towards the historical event that happened previously. So in order to have build a resiliency in our country or state or whatever, or in the city, we should have a really a structured resilient framework. So it's about moving from fragmented reactive response to a systematic integrated process for climate adaptation in water sector. So it's also show how water related vulnerability, whether it's flood in Kelantan or drought in Java, can be addressed through a loop of learning, planning, action, and feedback. So at its core, this framework emphasizes on diagnosing the vulnerability, designing prioritized adaptation strategy, implementing a solution, and also monitoring and improving them over time. So to put it simply, this framework helps us to shift from reactive crisis management towards proactive adaptation planning. So this shift will help in defining the future of resilience, whether it's in Malaysia or Indonesia and the ASEAN region. So in the robustness of the adaptation rely on the granular data. Vulnerability assessment must be proved to move beyond the exposure matrix, include sensitivity and adaptive capacity. So on the left is the UNFCCC approach on the top-down and bottom-up approach to assess the vulnerability and adaptation. Previously, it's either bottom-up or top-down. So it's not combination of both. So sometimes, and from that we can see that some of the action being taken is it's not, for example, from the top down, it's not considering the needs of the community below. The person who receive the direct impact of the climate change, for example, the flood, or the drought. So both approach are complementary, but then the top give us some big picture climate projection, while the bottom up ensure adaptation fit the local context. It's not fitting. Sometimes it's just on the bottom up. Sometimes the government choose on the top down. While on the right side, show that the vulnerability and adaptation assessment we not one size fit all. So it cannot stand alone. We have to merge them together. That emphasize often the blend approach using top-down climate model with bottom-up community surveys. So we combine them together so we can have the overall picture that have a good impact on the community below. So this will encourage a multi-scalar integration. For example, on the global projection, regional impact, and local action. So as you can see from on the right side, framework of VNA assessment. Starting from the observation, we can do the improvement. So we can see the direct expected system impact. But then based on the adaptation, we can also have some action that rely on the data from the emission, GCM projection, regional projection on climate change, and hydrological response to help us further provide a good improvement towards the system. But you can see from there, the flow, you can all this improvement, whether 1 until 5, is go to the expected system impact on the physical system or the human system. So it incorporate both bottom up and top down approach. So yeah, this has been done towards, I think, multiple years in our ASEAN region. So the this adaptation policy matrix show the for example, Malaysia River Basin Management (IRBM) and Indonesia NCICD offer a blueprint of multiple level adaptation, linking infrastructure, governance, and early warning system. For example, this framework here as a juxtaposed top-down spatial assessment, such as National Coast Vulnerability Index with bottom-up community vulnerability scoring. The fusion of both provide multi-scalar risk that provide a crucial for adaptation planning. So throughout ASEAN, currently we are already adapting this combination of both top-down and bottom-up approach in our policy adaptation. So some of the example that we are currently implementing in Malaysia is that we are bringing up this framework that we talked just now and operationalizing it in terms of mitigation and adaptation towards strategic investment in flood control, infrastructure, and some early warning system. For example, recently, 24th of May, just 4 days ago, Malaysian agree to provide, to allocate 3 billion ringgit or estimated around 10 trillion rupiah, all right, for the Sungai Golok flood mitigation projects near the Thai border. So this is just not a bilateral buffer, it's a regional resilient that we designed to reduce boundary flood risk and also enhance our water security. So Sungai Golok is a river that separate between Kelantan in Malaysia and Golok Patani Naratiwat area in Thailand. So it's a country border. So we have this Sungai Golok that every year we have a flood over there. So we provide in his in recently 4 days ago, our Malaysian government has already said that they allocated 3 billion ringgit. So other than that, in disaster preparedness, Malaysia through its budget 2023 preparing a budget worth 15 billion ringgit. So this is, I think, around 20 trillion of rupiah, just to mitigate the flood. So you can see from here, the mitigation action cost or need a lot of money to build and to repair and to add additional infrastructure to improve the weather system and things like that. So it needs a lot of resources. All right. So on the right side is the Kelantan River. So why Kelantan? People asked me last time, why Kelantan? Why the focus is in Kelantan? Because the Kelantan River Basin is the most heavily impacted by this climate change, heavy rainfall throughout the year, especially during the monsoon season. So the border, the river in the border, Sungai Golok, is one of the focal area of all water in Kelantan directed towards that area. So normally every year, heavy flooding occur in this area. So in addition, to address the issue on the water needs for agriculture sector, we come out with off-river water storage that, for example, in this case, in Kelantan, Malaysia, currently under construction, we provide 704 million to build out 500 million liter per day off-river water storage. So this can have a two impact. So during the rainy season, it can store the rainwater, the overflow water from the river. It can be stored in this storage, and during the drought season, this storage, the water in this storage can be used for the consumption and also for the agriculture needs. So this system will have a impact on almost 500,000 residents. So these are the number three, the third off-river storage that we built in Malaysia currently.
Dr. Faiz,
So,
your time is 5 minutes
okay.
left.
So
Please proceed.
I'm finishing. So there are two more slides. Okay. So when we talk about disaster, there are also some opportunity happen. There are also opportunity. And this opportunity, for example, the GIC expect the revenue from climate adaptation solution can go up to 4 trillion by 2050. And from the graph on the right, we can see that previously and currently much money is being spent towards mitigation, but very less, almost up to 30% in 2020 goes to the adaptation. So in the future, we need to build more or adapt more towards the adaptation. So from there, we can save a lot of resource and try to have, for example, nature-based solution to help us living with the current situation and adapt whatever that we have around us. So, yep. So my last slide. So what BRIN and M.Sc can do together? I think there's a lot of research have been done together, but to address the issue, we need to have some joint water-based research, either on adaptation technology, which is currently really small, not being in focus, and small island water needs. And secondly, co-develop some regional flood drought adaptation model and plans, and initiate some Asian climate partnership like that, or grant, for example. So from that, my takeaways and policy, to summarize, the water is integrator of climate risk. The future is not dictated by the average, but the extremes. So we need to shift from the reactive disaster management towards anticipatory climate adaptation. So this will require data, funding, institution, and above all, collaboration, of course. And I think lastly, let us ensure that adaptation is not the afterthought after some event have occurred, but the cornerstone of our Asian climate response. So we need to plan further ahead and focus on the adaptation technology. So from that, I think that's all from me. So thank you for your kind cooperation. So I give back to you, Dr. Chandra.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Muhammad Faiz. Great applause for you. And ladies and gentlemen, before continue to second speaker, I think we take a picture because some people will have agenda to leave the, the meeting. So I hope everyone can open the camera, and Miss Justicia or Mr. Haki as the host can take a picture from all of us. Okay, everyone, please open your camera. Miss Yusti, please take and coordinate. Your voice is not heard, Miss Yusti. Okay, thank you very much, Miss Yusti, for your help. And next, we will continue to second speaker, Mr. Dr. Nicco Plamonia. And before he is presenting his slide, I will read a short CV from Dr. Plamonia regarding formal education. Dr. Nicco Plamonia have double bachelor degree in Universitas Diponegoro and Universitas Pancasila, majoring in marine science from Universitas Diponegoro and civil engineering from Universitas Pancasila, and also have a double master degree, M.Sc from University of Twente Enschede, the Netherlands, and also Magister Teknik from Institut Teknologi Bandung dengan major environmental engineering. And next, his doctoral philosophy degree received from University of Twente Enschede, the Netherlands, majoring in civil engineering, and he was also finishing his postdoctoral researcher at Technical University of Munich, Germany, and majoring in integrated land and water management. Okay, without further ado, time and screen are yours, Mr. Nicco Plamonia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Handi. Pardon me to say this before, because some audience asking a question for Professor Faiz. Perhaps later, after me presenting my presentation, we will conclude the talks today with answering the question. Okay, I will present my presentation. Perhaps, I don't know, perhaps because of Indonesia and Malaysia very, very challenged with different problem, because I just shocked when Professor Faiz say that Malaysia allocating 5 billion ringgits to adapt with the climate mitigation for Kelantan only, and I cannot imagine how much money do Indonesia allocate for our resilience to the climate change. Perhaps I think because we are bigger, I think we also have a bigger budget, I guess. But I don't know. But it shocked me a lot. I would like to present my research, my current paper, because it is related to the urban resilience. Professor Faiz mentioned that infrastructures may one of many ways to adapt with the climate change and so on. So in Indonesia, particularly in urban area, in cities, for example, Jakarta, we always face the floods every year. It's almost like taking a medicine, Professor Faiz, that every years we know we will face the flood, but the next year we do nothing. That the approach for me is a bit confusing, because we always have a lot of approach in solving the different problem in the fields. It's not only in the paper based, but in the fields. So, but there is a hope. There is a way to transform urban resilience of Indonesian cities when the government, our government, introduced the IKN, new capital city. Apart from the political debate, we moving our capital city or not. However, we have an example how adaptation in terms of infrastructures with cities as the contact, urban areas as the contact, and how we can approach that and to improve our resilience to the climate infrastructure. So this is our presentation. I will start to the background, because we know cities, Indonesia. When we talk about Indonesia, we always forget that. We always forget that. We always forget. Sorry, we will forget that we are addressing which part of the area it is rural area or urban areas in terms of diversifies or the response. So I focus in cities and urban challenge in the cities in Indonesia, always that the infrastructure overload, water, electricity, telecommunication, increase the climate vulnerabilities, because it's also related to the flood, land subsidence, extreme weather, and cost and risk of surface level maintenance. This is the fact. The electricity line in Indonesia, we can see, even when I go to my office in Serpong from Jakarta, I always see this electricity cables all around. Is not really nobody really care about how to treat these cables. For example, it's decreased the city's resiliences to do any treatment, climate change, even for the smallest treatment, traffic, for example, and also leaking gas pipe, because the gas pipe material is from ductile cast iron, is easy to leak. So bad drainage increased the flood, and drinking water pipe is always broken. So in my perspective, I know that our research center is called Environment and Clean Technology, but me myself always focus on build environment and clean technology, which is built environment actually is human-made environments. It's road, it is drainage, it is housing system, but the one with the networks, that my research focus. And then after that, perhaps the next step is building a build technology like a lot of them, solar cell, etc., and so on. And how we can interfere? I don't know. There is a discussion of the developed country like Germany, Japan, United States. I follow this discussion. How they change the city urban area is through the infrastructures. In Indonesia, perhaps our researchers in Indonesia also see that how they can divide which infrastructures do we can respond with the climate threats. So we respond properly and address the problem. We call it prasarana, or we call in English is infrastructures, and the other part is sarana, is facilities. The one we can respond properly with government budget, for example, is prasarana. The one with linear system, there is street system, water supply system, wastewater, and sanitary system. When you guys see this background, you can see that how this linear system with a networking is actually prasarana with linear system that actually, for example, drinking water, we need a pipe. We need pipe to drink. We cannot buy a bottled water every time because in Jakarta, not even once house that have a drinkable water. For example, compared to our fellow countries like Singapore, for instance, they consume drinkable water. They increase their resilience to the climate and another threats to the Singapore. So prasarana is mostly scale. So if we can divide it in which part of infrastructures that really in terms of we can translate it into practical, it is drinking water, electricity, communication, drainage, and sanitation should be a top 5 of priority of infrastructures one area to respond with the change in climates. Otherwise, our fellows Malaysian countries, our Malayu brothers, they already allocated a lot of fund to respond with this, but we still respond in the basic, very basic. Perhaps we talk very big idea, but we cannot. We have to respond in with small step. And for me, from the literature, I guess, the infrastructure itself is not ready. We don't have drinkable water with pipe into our house. So it is all theories, all book about urban areas. They also we can conclude that how to change the change factors. The government can react with the threat is the using utilities and with the public budgets. This always until now is practice. Also, they call it today that we can work together. Community can work. Yes, it is sure. Yes. However, the easiest way, not easy, the most solid ways to react is using government infrastructures. So I already explained this before. And the method of my research is that when we're moving our capital city to the IKN in Kalimantan, we do see that there is a change to build how to create the city's infrastructures more reliable to the climate threats, climate change threats. For example, flood. For example, drinkable water through pipe. For example, how we can appear using change factor, using prasarana, using government budget. Otherwise, we just we keep talking about it and we keep asking people to let's do something, but in practice, according to 4 books that I studied before, government must take a step first. That's the fact. So we move to the site location in Kalimantan, in our locus, we call it Nusantara. Nusantara is actually our name for Indonesia, Malaysia, and the islands in Southeast Asia. And I focus to small section of Nusantara. which is this section. This is the KIPP, they call it KIPP of ASEAN, which is central governments in when we move to quote unquote we move to the Kalimantan, and I modeled this through finite elements how to see, because the first treatment the first threat to the infrastructure is the soil stability. So I try to make a model. Take 5 examples in each region of IKN, and we do this actually before I joined BRIN. I do this research long before 2021 until and I create these finite elements models to model the soil stability, because it's always talk about the Borneo Island soil stability is difficult, etc., etc. The community of science, but nobody really prove it. Nobody really write down it into the journal article. So I do collect the primary data through colleague, and we surface elevation, current drainage system, underground utility mapping, utility space, etc. And we also take the sample of the soil using the various tests, or perhaps 10 tests each, and different depth, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 12, to see the stability of the soil in varying particular infrastructures, in networks, and in facilities. So this is our illustration how we take the soil data and collection of secondary data. We also collect the financial analysis, rainfall, environmental impact assessment, community activity, and social aspect. So the conceptual model of our research that there's independent variables, there is dependent variables, and we come with mediating variable to moderates the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable. What I mean with that is utility management system is independent variables, long-term sustainability in terms of sustainability itself, physical perspective, and cost. It always involves, because United Nations mentioned that sustainability is must understand in the field also through the cost, because otherwise we invest a lot to maintain sustainability. So the utility management system is independent variables. The long-term sustainability is dependent variables. So we interfere, our research is by introduce the multi-utility tunnels as mediating variables. And we do collect some data, soil stability, structural stability, and then we evaluate this relationship, but modeling the outcome, we evaluate this and see if this evaluation result in conclusion that we reach the objective. This is the system performance, utility integration level, land use efficiency, initial investment, operational cost, and potential cost saving. First, utility management system as an independent variable. As I showed you before, traditional utility system is not work anymore. It causes a lot of cost not on term of only fun, but cost a lot of health, cities ability to serve people when we using traditional utility system. So as a mediating variable, we introduce multi-utility tunnels. We design ourselves, because my colleague in Ministry of Public Works, we do discuss this a lot, how to really create a multi-utility tunnels for tropical countries like Indonesia. We discussed this perhaps from 2017, and at the end we come to conclusion. And when he holds some position in the Ministry of Public Works, he tried to let's do it, and he asked me for me to I want to implement this type of MUT as an example for a country like as big as Indonesia. We don't even have even single multi-utility tunnel in Jakarta. This is how we integrate geotechnical data into MUT design, because every time we talk about Borneo, we always talk about the land subsidence, we talk about the forest growth, the soil is different between Borneo and Java or Sumatra or Sulawesi, but nobody can prove it through the test. So we do take a test. And we try to design an MUT. There's MUT type 1, MUT type 2, and tapping MUT. We put this MUT in different sections. There's MUT type 1 for the protocol. If Indonesia must call it Medan Merdeka or the streets around our national monument. There is MUT type 2, then there is tapping MUT. It is designed for the MUT, and we try to put drainage, water drainage here, and there is various utilities because that will come after, because in Indonesia, in fact, in Jakarta, in my place, every time they want to install something in the street, they must to dig the street again over time, repeat it until they destroy another utility. So we try to create this with this main MUT. The second MUT is the MUT type 2. So it is a branch of the main MUT. This is our creation. We do test the strength of these structures, and there is a tapping MUT, because this tapping MUT is another problem. If you go to Jakarta, you just turn around for just 3 hours. There is always a man who dig again the road over time. We always found that, and it is decrease the infrastructure's reliability to serve to its function to the community. So we also give the dimension. There is a measurement for this MUT. There is our calculation to the weight of MUT using from our finite element methods. We extract the data, we extract the calculation, and space efficiency that we found that using MUTs, we can save 40% of the space compared to conventional method. We start from the space efficiency. So pardon me for my bad English. 40% of the space saved when using MUT, which is equivalent with 3.5 billions rupiahs. In terms of long-term stability, long-term sustainability, according to 4 books that I quoted before, long-term sustainability is, we have to divide the long-term sustainability in terms of cost and in terms of the materials of the infrastructures. We cannot just imagine sustainability without a cost is difficult in terms of practice. Sustainability without a cost is difficult in terms of practice, according to the professor in the 5 book that I showed you before. Also, we measure the sustainability from physical perspectives first. This soil stability, structural stability, we do test it, and there is a lot of number here. Soil stability from Poisson ratio, from maximum stress. Then we come to structural stability, total stress, and at the end, from physical sustainability, okay, it's safe to build MUT in IKN in Kalimantan. Neglecting the people commenting about the soil situation in Kalimantan, but in fact, based on our data collection, we can install structural, and we can install do the structural is stable, and the soil to support the structural is stable. What about the cost? the capital expenditures to install using the traditional MUT always cost less. It is 8.75 billion rupiahs. For the traditional MUT, I mean, traditional, we just install it. We put all the infrastructures together here without any MUTs. So when we're using MUT, we always cost bigger, which is 13.250 billions as a capital expenditure. However, the cost for operational expenditures of the conventional method, traditional methods, is cost higher, which is 550 Indonesian rupiahs, billion Indonesian rupiahs per kilometers, while MUT costs less, which is 302 billion rupiahs, million rupiahs. So traditional way of install the MUT compared to MUT, when we put the utilities inside the MUT, we calculate the asset depreciation, and we found that depreciation of asset without MUTs is almost 5% per year, while when using MUTs is much lower, which is almost 1% per year, which is very good. It's very the climates or the environment less affecting the infrastructures when we're using MUTs. Also, the asset depreciation. After we install a lot of infrastructure under the ground, the asset depreciate very fast, exponentially. And perhaps when somebody dig electricity cables, then next month, people from Telkomsel dig another hole in the same place, so the depreciation must be 1 year, not even 1.5, and perhaps only 1 month. So if we calculate that, we put it into table, the total cost with efficiencies, although the capex, the capital expenditure of conventional is much lower, MUT is much bigger, so the operational expenditure is much higher for the conventionals. For the MUTs is 300, and total maintenance for over 10 years. I don't know if the conventional infrastructure is still there for 10 years, but MUT, we can guarantee that. But we assume that they are still exist for 10 years. We can save the cost for 45%. And total year cost in 1 year for MUT, the value of the asset is still higher than the traditional. The space saving, if we convert into money, space saving for traditional MUT is none, but for the MUT we save 3.5 billions. So in total, effective cost saving after space saving is about total effective cost. The MUT cost lower than the conventional. If we assume the traditional still there for 5 years, the conventional at the end still higher price compared to the MUTs. So in terms of asset depreciation, conventional way of installing infrastructures in 30 years is minus. We always replace them again. It is, please remember everybody that it is in very ideal assumption, and because we can see, I can show you now how the electricity cables in front of BRIN office, when we go to the toll roads, how the cables they already installed a month ago, but now it's broken already. With AMUT, at the end, the asset that we install is still there. They have still value. They can serve people's money from the choosing to exist. The conclusion, yes, the utility integration level for MUTs is very good, is provable. land use is save 40%. In terms of money in long term, in 10 years, just in 10 years, we can save a lot. And there's another advantage, the monitoring capability for the IoT, Internet of Things enabled infrastructure is really help us. Otherwise, we keep some level at the, if compared to Malaysia, I'm sorry to say, in fact, that already installed that MUT, perhaps in some cities they already have can bring water directly from the pipe, but Indonesia we still don't have any example for that. Even in Jakarta, even in my previous office, and a lot of, because in BRIN now we always talked about the downstreaming research. If you asking me the question, do my research already downstream? Yes, it's already installed in IKN. It's not only on journals and papers, but it's already there. We still observing when it's do this according to theory is we can plan and they happen in the real life is similar to what we planned, and let's see in next 10 years. But in papers, we already have benefits and advantage when we're using MUT. That's all my research. My presentation, Dr. Andi. Thank you everybody for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Great presentation, Dr. Nicco.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for both speaker, Associate Professor Mohd Faiz and Dr. Nicco Plamonia. Ladies and gentlemen, we are entering the next agenda discussion. There are some questions for Professor Faiz in the chat box. We have first from Professor Tarsan Sembiring for Professor Faiz. There are also paddy which is grown in the land without irrigation. The question is, how much water need to grow such type of paddy? Maybe you have information regarding that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright, so saya cuba jawab dalam bahasa ya. Sebab tadi
Silakan.
dalam bahasa. Okay. Ya betul. Sememangnya ada padi yang ditanam di atas daratan. Kalau di Malaysia ni kita panggil sebagai padi bukit atau padi humah. So this type of paddy it also needs water. So normally kalau normal paddy is need like 1,000 to 1,500 millimeter of water approximately untuk grow 3 dalam 4 bulan yang pertama. Kalau padi daratan ini perlukan lebih kurang dalam 800, less than 1,000. Still memerlukan water, tapi kuranglah, dan kebanyakannya bergantung kepada air hujan untuk dia punya irrigation, not irrigation, untuk sistem airnya.
Baik, terima kasih Prof. Faiz. Informasi menarik ini tentang padi huma atau padi bukit yang di Malaysia sudah khusus untuk cuaca yang kering dan tahan air. Baik, ke pertanyaan berikut. Ini tidak perlu saya translate karena sudah bisa dalam bahasa Indonesia. Dari pertanyaan Pak Teguh, apakah perubahan nilai NDVI yang peta tadi tentang NDVI bisa untuk memperkirakan perubahan atau fluktuasi dari infiltrasi air hujan ke air tanah?
Okey, tentang NDVI tadi ya. Tidak secara langsung. So NDVI ini adalah satellite imaging, yang mana untuk melihat kadar pertumbuhan jika dilihat daripada satelit. So kita boleh tengok sama ada pada certain waktu pertumbuhan itu berkembang dengan baik, dengan subur atau tidak. So secara tidak langsung kita boleh, seperti dalam presentasi saya tadi, kita boleh melihat impaknya secara tidak langsung terhadap water, for example water stress. But then untuk mengukur dari sudut air bawah tanah atau groundwater, we need another factor lah, another instrument or measurement untuk mengukur perkara tersebut. So secara tidak langsung it's not possible, but then we need another instrumentation untuk mengukur, untuk meyakinkan dia.
Ya,
Ya.
baik. Saya paham apa yang disampaikan Prof. Faiz.
Ya.
Mudah-mudahan Pak Teguh bisa paham juga ya, karena nilai NDVI itu adalah nilai dari foto satelit atau remote sensing yang dipergunakan untuk melihat ketertutupan lahan daripada tanaman hijau yang direfleksikan dalam warna.
Ya.
Jadi supaya bisa dipahami oleh Pak Teguh ya. Oke, selanjutnya ada pertanyaan dari Pak Rizky dalam bahasa Inggris. Thanks for the presentation, Sir Faiz. May I know, is there any weather modification conducted to fill up the water storage? That's the first question. Or it filled naturally from the river debit and rainfall. Anyway, it is very interesting that this topic or theme upscale to ASEAN context, which we can know or compare on how to deal with the issue. Thanks before.
Okey, untuk pertanyaan ini, normally pada waktu kemarau yang sangat panjang, in Asian country, normally kita ada membuat pembenihan udara, pembenihan hujan, cloud seeding, rain seeding. So itu normal, praktis yang normal, yang mana cloud seeding digunakan untuk create menjana hujan secara artificial lah, melalui pembenihan menggunakan garam dan sebagainya. So it's help untuk mengisi semula empangan-empangan atau river dam yang sudah kering, hampir pada critical level. So untuk isu OFS ni, off river storage system ini, so tidak hanya melalui river, laluan masuk daripada sungai dan juga rainfall, sometimes dia juga dipenuhi oleh daripada groundwater juga, daripada aquifer yang mungkin pada level pertama aquifer. Normally untuk ketiga-tiga sistem yang dibina di Malaysia, kita tidak disturb all this aquifer level of groundwater. So we only rely on the surface untuk penuh daripada river untuk penuhkan that OFS, ataupun daripada larian or sewage runoff untuk penuhkan that OFS system. And I think another one, I think it's true, untuk bagus sekali untuk sekiranya ada platform yang mana, for example the ASEAN Summit yang ada sekarang, untuk all this all the country of Asian country untuk duduk sama berbincang and mencari satu titik temu dan bagaimana untuk kolaborasi lah in solving this climate issue, for example. Because untuk bergerak sendiri kita tidak mampu, sebab it's a regional impact. So untuk sendirian Malaysia bergerak sendiri ataupun Indonesia bergerak sendiri, mungkin kita tidak mampu. So kita perlukan kerjasama dari sudut itulah. Mungkin itu saja, Pak.
Ya, sepakat Prof. Faiz, kita perlu kerjasama untuk mengatasi masalah climate crisis ini ya di level ASEAN. Pak Rizky Pratama, apakah sudah jelas? Jika masih ada pertanyaan, mungkin silahkan dibuka kamera dan buka percakapan ya. Saya lanjut ke pertanyaan berikut dari
juga Rizky Pratama, Pak.
Bukan. Oh, okay. I think from the Zoom chat box already finished with the question for Profesor Faiz. Jika ada Bapak Ibu yang mau bertanya secara langsung dalam bahasa, kami persilahkan. Mungkin ada yang mau bertanya secara langsung kepada kedua pembicara, kami persilahkan. Karena waktunya sudah cukup panjang. Jika tidak ada, lanjut ke Pak Nicco. Ini ada 3 pertanyaan dari box chat ini. Pertama dari Pak Rizky Pratama Adi. Thanks for the presentation, Mr. Nicco. May I know what is the best material used for the multi-purpose tunnel to have more durability? And as we know that IKN area is quite hilly and diverse topography. Is there any constraints or limitation to conduct this tunnel in IKN, and according to your team design, what is the maximum capacity or debit for this tunnel network? I'm thinking and remembering also the battle in Spider-Man in film also conducted in deep tunnel under the ground city. Thanks before. Proceed, Pak Nicco.
Thank you, Mas Rizky. I may say it's always in the imagination of my generation, Dr. Andi. We watching Teenage Mutant Ninja from the cartoons, and always imagine these tunnels, very big tunnels. But long story short, that these tunnels is only planned for the main road of IKN. There is two line in Jakarta. Call it Medan Merdeka. Medan Merdeka looks alike of IKN version, but until now it's only that segment, and we continue to the second MUT, which is much with highest numbers, because the second MUT is connect the smaller buildings, smaller facilities, each others, and tapping MUT. Actually, in our prediction, we will need more second for our cost consideration, and our ability for IKN. I think it's only we will need more MUT type 2 instead of MUT type 1. And am I correct to answer risky question? If it is too big, we don't, because of the limitation of the research, we don't have any resource to test the bigger tunnel, but we do have a plan. We visit the MRTs now that installed in Jakarta. We can see how big the tunnels for the bigger, for the most complex. For example, if we join the MUTs with the underground transportation, of course we will need more space for the MUTs because of the consequences of the merging of two infrastructures. I don't know the answers, Rizky, but we don't have any example, because what I present to you now, we already do it, we already install it, and we planned it from 2017. But for the bigger infrastructure, we don't have any example, but of course we can do it for the bigger tunnel. That's my question, Dr. Chandra. That's my answer, Dr.
Okay, thank you for your answer, Dr. Nicco. And second question from Muhammad Chris Rafi. Thanks for the presentation, Mr. Nicco, very great. Yes, sir, we have a chance to have a manageable channel to drinkable water and etc. But what about your opinions? Stigma on all about other people that Jakarta is mainly still holding a record for busiest city. But do not think Jakarta still have a chance. But do you think Jakarta still have a chance to build more manageable channels similar to IKN? by considering the people that live in Jakarta. Silakan Pak, langsung aja bahasa Indonesia Pak. Apakah mungkin membangun channel seperti di IKN dengan situasi Jakarta yang sangat sibuk?
I cannot speak bahasa, Dr. Andy, I'm sorry. Enggak. To answer this, untuk menjawab ini secara belakang, kita pernah punya kok zaman Belanda itu. Tadi masih ada kok buktinya di Kota Tua, Kota Lama kita punya jalur-jalur Pak, jalur-jalur mungkin itu belum sampai ke kabel untuk listrik ya, tapi untuk saluran drainase sebelahnya saluran air minum sudah ada di Kota Tua, dan ya itu kan sebenarnya tinggal menambah dimensi dan menambah ruang sedikit ya untuk yang apalagi untuk MUT tipe 2 tadi sebenarnya sudah cukup, dan space-nya banyak bisa dipadatkan. Kalau untuk dipasang di Jakarta tentu bisa. How many the cost? Banyak. How many the benefits? Lebih banyak. Nah, itu jawabannya mungkin Pak. Kalau untuk dipasang manageable channel, sebenarnya Jakarta atau Batavia sebelumnya sudah punya, tapi kita lupa. Apakah bisa dipasang di Jakarta? Bisa, tentu mahal dan tentu lebih untung, karena misalnya untuk banjir misalnya, ilmuwan-ilmuwan hidrologi di kita sudah sulit membedakan mana yang benar-benar surface runoff karena hujan, mana yang surface runoff karena dari drainase yang tidak tersambung, Pak Andi. Kalau misalnya kita bikin MUT dan itu tersambung, kita tahu segini yang tersambung, berapa yang jadi surface runoff. Sekarang selokan-selokan yang ada di Jakarta itu tidak tahu kita nyambung apa tidak. Salah satu faktor penyebab banjir. Jadi dengan MUT harapannya harusnya sih bisa. Tentu cost-nya lebih besar, tentu manfaatnya lebih besar. Itu jawaban saya, Pak. Terima kasih.
Baik, terima kasih informasinya Pak Nicco. Saya punya satu pertanyaan buat Pak Nicco sebelum ke Bu Neni Sintawardani ya. Ini sederhana aja. Di Jakarta kan telah kita ketahui bahwa 60% wilayah Jakarta itu di bawah seawater level atau SWL.
Ya.
Nah, pertanyaannya apakah di IKN ada yang kasus serupa? Maksudnya lokasinya tuh di bawah seawater level di IKN Kalimantan.
Tentu ada ya Pak ya, tentu ada. Tapi penyebabnya di Jakarta itu kan, kalau di IKN kan kita masih punya chance untuk menahan dan pengambilan air tanah di Kalimantan sulit Pak, karena airnya payau, orang cenderung sulit menggunakan sumur. Mereka sangat bergantung terhadap air galon yang dijual dibandingkan menggunakan sumur yang sudah payau duluan. Sementara di Jakarta land subsidinya kan kebanyakan karena air sumur dalam yang diekstrak, sehingga ada kosong di jebakan-jebakan air dalam tanah, terjadi kompaksi, tanah menurun Pak. Jadi perbedaannya mungkin di faktor dari luarnya, dan di Kalimantan tidak mengalami land subsidan seperti di Jakarta, karena tidak ada yang mengambil kolom-kolom air tanah gitu.
Baik, terima kasih. Untuk pertanyaan selanjutnya dari Ibu Neni, untuk Pak Nicco, biaya yang menjadi pertimbangan sangat penting terkait infrastruktur. Mohon masukan kira-kira secara nyata, langkah apa yang realistis dalam jangka pendek bisa dilakukan katakanlah untuk mengatasi soal lingkungan, terutama wastewater di Jakarta.
Saya nggak tahu Bu Neni. Jadi langkah utama ya terutama ini ya, yang jelas sih diperlukan jaringan yang terkoneksi, lingkungan terbangun, build environment yang berjaringan. Selama ini kan misalnya air minum perpipaan, itu kan lebih mudah nanti dalam kontrol and treatment. Kalaupun air limbah wastewater, kalau itu berjaringan dan ada saluran drainase yang cukup pas untuk limbah drainase, ada lagi saluran untuk limbah misalnya toiletries, misalnya limbah pup misalnya, itu lebih bisa dikontrol Bu. Nah, kalau tidak berjaringan, kan ini masalahnya sebenarnya. Kalau tidak di networking, build environment kan kalau sudah tidak berjaringan, itu uncontrollable, dan cenderung people kan benefiting themselves on the expense of others gitu. Mereka akan membuangnya langsung ke dalam cubluk, ke dalam tanah, lama-lama mencemari air tanah. Tapi kalau itu dalam bentuk jaringan, walaupun costly, kita bisa mengontrol dan bisa membuat lingkungan kita lebih sehat karena tidak mencemari lingkungan alami gitu. Tapi untuk langkah secara nyata saya tidak tahu. Mohon maaf. Itu mungkin jawaban saya, Pak Andi.
Ya, baik, terima kasih Pak Nicco. Jadi memang semua infrastruktur itu terkait dengan pengelolaan lingkungan dan sustainability. Cuma memang kalau mengontrol seawater, sewage atau wastewater dari pabrik maupun dari rumah tangga, itu perlu aturan dan infrastruktur yang jelas gitu ya. Cuma itu di luar kapabilitas kita sebagai Riset, itu sudah dalam level implementasi. Baik, apakah masih ada lagi Bapak Ibu? Karena sudah jam 3:14 dan di Malaysia sudah jam 4:14. Jadi kalau tidak ada lagi, kita akan akhiri pertemuan kita hari ini. Kalau ada, silakan angkat tangan. Baik, saya kira sudah jelas semua. Akhir kata, terima kasih banyak buat Asisten Profesor Muhammad Faiz dari Malaysia dan juga Dr. Nicco Plamonia dari BRIN Indonesia. Presentasi yang sangat menarik dan mudah-mudahan ke depan kita ada kerjasama ya, Prof. Faiz, antara BRIN dan juga University Kelantan, dan juga minta tolong nanti kalau berkenan bisa membagikan presentasinya di chat box untuk para partisipan. Baik Bapak Ibu sekalian yang saya hormati, dengan demikian acara BRIN EnviroTalk kita akhiri. Jika ada salah kata, salah ucap, dan sikap yang tidak berkenan, saya mohon maaf sebagai moderator. Akhir kata, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore, salam sehat buat kita semua.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Faiz.
Salam, terima kasih semuanya.
Terima kasih,
Terima
Pak
kasih.
Terima kasih semuanya.
Pak Aryo,
Ya,
Prof.
terima kasih
Faiz,
Prof. Nicco, Prof. Faiz.
semuanya sehat-sehat
Terima
semua.
kasih, Pak Kapus, ya, sama
Ya,
Terus, masih
izin lagi
semuanya.
Bapak Ibu.